up and landing 13 left if that's available.
Papa Hotel Tango India Link, Palm Springs Tower, squawk 6250.
6250.
Papa Hotel Tango India Link, Palm Springs altimeter is 2985, radar contact about 10 miles west of the Palm Springs VOR. Presently landing runway 31, you're requesting straight in for 13.
If that's available.
Ever departure of Papa Hotel Tango India Link, make straight in runway 13 left and clear to land. Wind is 0905.
Clear to land runway 3 left, Papa Hotel Tango India Link, thanks.
Palm Springs clearance plus 4658 is type PC final slam call request clearance to Vegas S file.
Plus 4658, Palm Springs clearance. Good afternoon. Unable to give you S file, and I'll be full route standby. Plus 4658 is cleared to the Las Vegas Airport via Flight Cathedral 1 departure procedure to Palm Springs, Victor 370 to 29 Palms, Victor 538, Cresso, then Cresso 3 arrival. Maintain 7,000. Expect flight level 2405 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 126.7, squawk 6316.
Plus 4658 is cleared to Vegas via Cathedral 1, Palm Springs, Victor 37029, Palms, Victor 538, Cresso 3. Initially climb 7 plus expected to 025, departure 126 sounds, plus 6 plus switching side.
Plus 4658, back is correct. Tango India Link, taxi to the ground via Echo and frequency.
Taxiing to the ramp via Echo, remaining on this frequency, Papa Hotel Tango India Link.
Ontario Tower, Cessna 237 Charlie Alpha, approximately 4 miles to the west, inbound to land.
Number 237, Charlie Alpha, roger, inner left, traffic, left downwind, runway 26 left, report base.
Enter left downwind 26 left, report your base, 237 Charlie Alpha.
Charlie Tower, United 242, on the visual for 20 right, returning for right base shortly.
United 242, John Wayne Tower, runway 20 right, clear to land, wind 170.3.
Clear to land, 20 right to land.
Otherwise, now looking at a 260 IFS flight.
Near 520 Yankee Kilo, Palomar Tower, runway 24, clear to land, wind 210 at 1. Number 237, Charlie Alpha, runway 26 left, clear to land.
Left base land, 7 Charlie Alpha.
Palm Springs run plus 4658 is traffic to weather going for taxi.
Plus 4658, Palm Springs ground, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo and Bravo.
Trail right via Echo Bravo 465.
Riverside Tower, good morning, November 2903 Alpha with you on the island.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside Tower, good afternoon. Runway 9 clear below approach, report miss.
November 2903 Alpha, low approach, runway 9, next week north.
Palm Springs Tower plus 4658 ready to go 3 and right left Bravo.
And it was the radio area check.
Plus 4658, Palm Springs Tower, runway 31 right, clear for data.
Clear for takeoff 3 and right plus 465.
Palomar Tower, left by 2
Here's our Yankee Kilo, rush taxi into the ramp via Alpha.
Yeah, Alpha.
Plus 4658, contact hotel departure.
Contact departure 465.
Cessna 7 Charlie Alpha is clearly active, taxi to the GA parking base.
We're 7 Charlie Alpha, and on this frequency taxi into the south ramp via Sierra.
Southbound via Sierra with you, 7 Charlie Alpha. Thanks.
November 2903 Alpha going around.
Number 03 Alpha, confirm going around or going missed.
November 2903 Alpha going missing.
Number 03 Alpha, roger, execute the published missed approach procedure.
Flying public mid-approach procedure, November 2903.
Piper 2903 Alpha, contact SoCal departure.
Contact departure, 03 Alpha.
Number 03 Alpha, departure frequency 135.4.
135.4 for departure, November 2903 Alpha.
Ontario Tower, November 516 Delta Mike, inbound ILS 26 left. Or 516 Delta Mike, Ontario Tower. Good afternoon, Ontario. Wind is calm. Runway 26 left, clear to land.
26 left, clear to land, 6 runway. Ontario Tower, November 36. Correction, 516 Delta Mike, clear to be active at uniform, taxiing to the south apron.
Number 6 Delta Mike, roger, taxi in the south ramp via Sierra. Remain on this frequency.
This here on this frequency 6 Delta.
Riverside Tower,
Alpha, Riverside Tower, runway 27, clear to land.
Clear to land over 2703 Alpha. Riverside Tower, November 2903 Alpha. In Alpha, request taxi to transient parking.
Number 2903 Alpha, Riverside, ground in the future. Don't switch to the ground frequency unless you're told to do so. Should stay with tower, exiting the runway all the way to the hold stroke point. Stay on this frequency for now, taxi to the ramp via Alpha.
Taxi to ramp via Alpha. Okay.
Runway clear. Runway clearance. November 6th. Charlie Mike Cherokee. I would like to attempt the I-4 read today.
Cherry 76 Charlie Mike Jolly clearance. Good evening. Good luck on the I-4 destination. Will be Kilo Oscar X-ray Romeo.
That's Kilo Oscar X-ray Romeo. 6 Charlie Mike.
Yes, sir. Good luck.
I'm going to sign off and collect some information for this destination. I'll sign back in. Is that okay?
Absolutely. Just report when you're back with the I-4. And how long do you think it'll be? It's not going to be more than an hour, is it?
No. I have to file and get some charts and plates.
Wonderful. Yeah, I'll still be here, so it shouldn't be a problem. And we'll look for your flight plan to come through. And we'll get your plans up.
Las Vegas Tower plus 465 visual 1 on the right, 4500.
Plus 4658 Las Vegas Tower, runway 19 right, clear to land, wind 1807.
Clear to land, 1 right, 465.
Plus 658 exit right, taxi into the ramp via hotel. Remain on this frequency today.
Exit right, ramp via hotel, land frequency 58, 465.
Ground number 953 Whiskey Alpha's Piper Comanche PH4/Alpha. Like taxi to the active VFR east departure with weather.
Calling Long Beach Ground, need you to just verify your call sign, please.
Sorry about that. 916 Whiskey Alpha, November 916 Whiskey Alpha.
Comanche 9016 Whiskey Alpha, Long Beach Ground, roger. And just confirm VFR eastbound.
Eastbound and east ramp just south of runway
Comanche 9016 Whiskey Alpha, roger, runway 26 right, taxi via Kilo.
25. Okay, 25 right, the Kilo 916 Whiskey Alpha. Long Beach Tower, November 916 Whiskey Alpha, holding short 25 right, Kilo ready for departure VFR east.
Number 916 Whiskey Alpha, Long Beach Tower, runway 25 right, clear for takeoff, right now and departure approved.
Clear for takeoff 25 right, right down and departure 6 Whiskey Alpha.
Good day, Palm Springs, ground scanning Hotel Tango, East Van, India, close traffic, 31 right.
Papa Hotel Tango to Mike, Palm Springs, ground, say again, aircraft type.
Gray Cessna scan.
Skyline Tango, to Mike, thank you, runway 31 right, taxi via Echo and Bravo.
Echo and Bravo, 31 right, Hotel Tango.
We're 791 Juliet, towards ground left.
Okay, Sky 791 Juliet, we see there's no clearance delivery with this field, so would we get our departure instructions with tower or with ground?
Always go with the lowest, so we'll start with ground, just say your intentions.
Okay, Sky 791 Juliet, type Cessna 172 on the south Angus with the numbers requesting VFR advisories to
Number 791 Juliet, roger, departure frequency 134.9er, squawk 2061.
1249, that's 2061.
Got 991 Juliet, read back is correct, are you ready to taxi now?
In a couple of minutes, just gotta go around to the side. It's Sky 700, South Angus,
Sky 791 Juliet, roger, runway 29 right. Taxi via hotel, correction, taxi via Alpha in Juliet.
29 right taxi by Alpha and Juliet, Sky 700. Palm Springs, now we're scanning Papa Tango, Mike is holding short runway 31 right, Bravo. Hello guys, still need to finish some work here. Welcome. So yeah, what we're going to do today is a VOR approach. I was thinking yesterday like, well, I should actually also do a localizer approach, which is strictly flying an instrument approach without any vertical guidance, so just lateral guidance alone. But I was looking at some localizer approaches here in the SoCal area, and I thought, well, it's really not that much of an additional challenge or significant challenge. So I decided to skip the localizer approach. We're going to do one, no doubt, as part of my full IFR flights very, very soon. I guess also as part of my I ratings. So I thought let's just move ahead and just practice a VOR approach, which is also only provided lateral guidance, but usually not right towards the nicely aligned for our runway. So it's a bit more challenging, which I think is really, really exciting. So that's what we're going to do today. I'm going to do my first VOR approach into Burbank. That's what we're going to do today. We're currently at Santa Monica Airport. This is the real world weather, not VFR proof at all, but I'm just going to pretend that it's all okay, just for practice sake. We're going to depart Santa Monica and we're going to fly the VOR approach into runway 8 of Burbank, which is a really nice VR approach that I'm going to show you in just a sec. Finish, good to see you. About approach for clearances? No, not yet, I guess. Finish, I will have a look there. Brad, thank you for the auto host. Much appreciated. 733, good to see you as well. Hope you're doing well. Good to see your livery being made for the HOA 172, I think. It was looking really, really cool. We should fly the empty NDB approach. Yeah, NDB approach we're going to do as well. Very, very soon. But first, the VOR approach, which is really, really interesting. Wow, that looks like lightning up ahead, but I think it's just some cloud textures that are a little bit out of touch. Let me see, and it looks like we're in the eye of a hurricane or so. So I'm hoping that we're actually... we see a windsock here. I think that the winds are actually pretty calm. Yeah, you can see there. Yeah. What are we going to do? Let me bring up the map. So this is the flight that I've planned for today. Again, Santa Monica, Delta class airport, to Burbank. Again, very short, but enough for us to just practice the instrument approach on their own. And again, there are so many reasons, I guess, why I could just already start flying a complete IFR flight, especially with this weather outside. But again, this is just the neurotic me. I'd like to just practice these things in a more isolated way. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to depart VFR from Santa Monica as legally as we can. And we're going to fly towards the west at 4,500 to go to the Ventura VOR over there, as you can see. And that will be the starting point of our instrument approach. I'm not going to request vectors to final like I did yesterday, but I'm going to fly the complete approach again because we need to fiddle around with a lot of VOR frequencies, which is really, really fun. This is it. This is the VOR runway 8 approach into Burbank. You can see Santa Monica over there. We are at Santa Monica, so we could also decide to request to practice this ILS approach or VOR approach from Santa Monica. However, it starts at 5,100 feet, which is actually in the Bravo shelf of LAX. And well, even though we can also request to do that, that's a bit too much for today. So I'd rather just leave Santa Monica, go to the west as VFR, and going to Ventura there, which is going to be our first initial approach fix that we're going to start from there. And because we're coming then from the west going to the east, then this holding pattern for us to descend down towards 4,400 feet is not relevant. You can see there no PT, no procedure turn. So it's a holding pattern, but it's part of conceptually part of a procedure turn. There are many others, or there are others that we're going to cover as well in future streams, in future flights. But in any case, we can just ignore that holding pattern here, and we can continue our flight to Suwana, getting there at 4,400 or at least 4,400, and then we're going to move towards the east, stepping down. We have no ILS. We're going down on our own accord based on our instrument approach here. Based off of DME readings, as you can see, all the way down using the Venice VOR, so not even a VOR based on Burbank. And once we pass Venice, we're going to fly a particular course, 089er, towards Burbank. And you can see, which is quite typical for VOR approaches, we're not flying completely in line like with an ILS or a localizer, straight onto runway 8. So we're going to actually approach that from an angle, which is really, really cool, and also makes that the minimums would be a little bit more higher, because the control ATC like us to have a little bit more visual confirmation of the runway before actually attempt to make this approach. So that's about it. We also have circling approach kind of additions to VOR and other kinds of approaches that we're also going to cover in future streams. But in this case, it's the VOR runway 8 approach into Burbank. This is exciting, I think. So this is what I've planned to do today. And as you can see, we got a lot of VORs going on. So we also need to switch a lot of frequencies. And again, also try to improve on the stuff that I did or did not do in my previous flight. For example, setting my altimeter setting for my destination airport. I already mentioned it at the beginning of my previous flight, but I still forgot because I was so involved in flying the ILS and talking with ADC that I just forgot about flying the airplane. I also landed with my mixture still leaned, and my pitot tube was still, pitot heat was still on. So yeah, I'd like to also be more mindful of my airplane, fly the airplane first while I'm doing this approach. That's also a particular goal for today. Scrap, good to see you. 733, I made that mistake in real life. At Fullerton, except I did not fly the procedure turn when I was supposed to. Controller was less than pleased. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, and then there are different, there's also, which is really nice, content covered in the real-world IFR video course provided by PilotEdge that I've also have access to, where Keith is also showing you the phraseology that ATC uses that you'd be quite aware of whether you need to fly that procedure turn or not, except for when it's just not depicted or not clear on the on the map here. In this case, there's no procedure turn mentioned here, so it's quite clear when we're flying on that particular course that we or track that we don't need to fly that procedure turn. But it can be a bit confusing, and to be honest, I've looked at that video twice already, and I got it, but I've already forgot about it now. So I need to again, I need to review those videos to really drill and practice that stuff, because it's important. So in this case, also what's nice, these kinds of procedure turns are here in either case, because you might also, because of your IFR flight plan, particular IFR flight plan, you might be arriving at Burbank, which is a bit unlikely, but still, from the Venice VOR, and you're flying towards the west at a particular altitude, 4,600 feet, I guess. And you need this procedure turn to turn around to get back on the VOR approach and get back to Burbank. Or once you're flying from Santa Monica VOR, for example, when we're flying at 5,100, we need to get down to that 4,500. And we can use the procedure turn here to get down. So that's also a reason why that thing is there. Also look at the profile view here. You can see again vertically what we need to do. Actually also laterally, it's a great, again, I'm so amazed and also still excited how much information they can actually put in such a small space. I think it's really it's really intriguing. It's fascinating. Just studying or understanding what they try to do through these approach plates is really cool to me, and they look so pretty. Why do they use the Burbank logo too? The Venice one that uses the Burbank logo. Also one of the most challenging approaches in the country. Ooh, yeah. See you, Scrap. Thank you for just dropping by and saying hi. Appreciate it. Anyways, so yeah, so no procedure turn, going to Ventura and then stepping down, following this profile view. So we don't have an ILS. Again, it's a VOR approach. So we need to read off the DME here from Venice VOR. And once we hit 11.4 when we're on that track from the Venice VOR, we ourselves need to go down. right? We're not following the needle on the nav1. We need to go down. So it's a stepwise descent into in Burbank in this case, and we cannot go any lower for that particular first segment than 3,700. See that underscored line there? We cannot go lower than that. There are variations to those kinds of depictions on the map, so you can also have a line on top of those on those numbers, which we probably will also run into in later flights. So from 11.4 nautical miles from the Van Nuys VOR, we're going to go down. Now, this line suggests that we actually need to pick a gradual ILS-like glide slopey angle downwards, right? A gradual kind of descent. Now, while that might actually be a suggestion, looking at this profile view, it's actually much better to be on the safe side and to actually descend much faster than this seemingly glide slope suggests. So rather than we go down by 450 feet per minute, or 500 feet per minute, like with a usual typical ILS approach glide slope, we are actually going down a bit faster down until we are 3,700, until we hit the next point here, next intersection, 5.1 nautical miles from the Van Nuys VOR, and we do the same thing, which looks much more like a step down descent, right? So that's the idea. Oh, clear, done. And again, what I also need to do once more is that, for example, here with the fixed final approach fix, that once we hit that, it's right on top of the VOR, and you can also see here this black bar here at the bottom, which suggests that it's an airport, which is not our destination airport, which is over there. There's Burbank. That we need to be at 3,100 once we are flying there at right over the Van Nuys VOR. And what you can see here, this is the actual slope, the angle, the glide slope towards that we need to fly to get right on track for our final approach into Burbank. Usually that angle is 3 degrees, and as you can see, this is a bit more. It's a bit more steep that we need to fly, which is important information. So again, suggests that we not need to stick at 500 feet per minute or so, but really descend a bit faster. Interestingly, here you can see no depiction of the minimum altitude that we need to fly for that final, well, almost final segment. But obviously, we do have a decision height here. And you can see that we've got a circling one, but also a straight in for runway 8, which is 1,600 feet MSL. Cloud base, the lowest that we can go until we have a visual of the runway, which translates to 873 feet AGL. Now in our case, I think I'm flying with real world weather today, and we've got pretty good VMC, I think. Let's see, Burbank, METAR. What do we have? 0 winds, 10 statute miles of visibility, clear sky. So that's really, really good. Again, clear sky doesn't mean that we have absolutely no clouds. There could still be clouds above 5,000 feet, I think, and then the METAR will still say clear sky. So that's an interesting fact, I think. So we most likely will spot Burbank once we get there. But in any case, this is important stuff. Runway 8, as you can see here, Atlantic FBO here is on that ramp. So any an early exit from the runway is preferable in our case. What kind of lights that we can expect? H here A5 also refers to a particular light system that they are using here, which might be very, very helpful. Again, if you're just if you've got really low cloud base and you're really reliant on seeing the first visual of the runway, you like to know what you can expect, right? So this is valuable information. Just aside from taxiing, but also just where is the control tower light, for example, is also very important. In our case, it should be on the right side. And also, obviously, also some obstacles here in the terminal area, which is also important. Also, again, here you can see the timings, or the time it takes for us to get from the final approach fix to the missed approach point, which is redundancy, actually. But it's important in case we got some failures going on. So I should actually also develop the habit of timing my approach there. So I have additional information of when I need to execute my missed approach point. And that also means if I'd like to stay true or as close to these tables, that I need to fly these speeds as well. So 90 knots in this case. We could also interpolate, obviously, fly 80, but it might be a bit better just to fly these numbers by the chart. Hey Sol, good to see ya. How are you today? I'm doing fine. I hope you are doing well as well. All right, so this is the VOR approach that we're going to fly. My first VOR approach here on PilotEdge, which is really, really exciting. But first off, a basic VFR departure from Santa Monica to that Ventura VOR over there, and then that's when this fun starts. So we're going to fly at 4,500. We stay below this Bravo chunk, which starts at 5,000 feet. Important. And we are flying on VFR cruising altitudes, right? 4,500. So that's the idea. I guess I will also already fly request flight following. Not that we really need it that much. But we would then already be in contact with TRACON, and we can already inform approach what we are trying to do here, and that will probably help them to coordinate our requests perhaps a bit better. And we're also still on the ground, so we have all the time in the world just to make ourselves clear rather than we're in the action. So flying, so that's what I'm going to do. Request flight following again. Giving my intentions, requesting flying the VOR approach runway 8 into Burbank. And also, again, be specific from what fix in this case. We like to fly the entire approach or just vectors to final. So in our case, I'm going to request to fly that VOR approach starting from Ventura. And hopefully they can accommodate like yesterday. We'll have to see. Let me see. I also like to have a little bit of water here to drink, so just a sec. Alrighty. Away with that chart. I also like to have my chair a bit more close to my cockpit there. Better. Oof, yeah, 733. Yeah, and also my chat bot here was reset a while ago because there was a new version. So all of those precious log hours of watching the stream have been lost, so it needed to reset. And that's why most of you have reset flight hours as well. But it should be working just fine. Eventually those logged hours watching will be used to do all kinds of nice giveaways in the future. So that's why that system is already in place. Okay, here we are. Let's have a look again. It's like we are in the eye of a big tornado. You can see also, I think that it's a little bit stuttery here. Oh, it's not on the stream, but here on my end it is. I think it's because of those cloud textures. Well, that's okay. Noticing that my yoke is a bit off center, which is not good. I don't know why that is happening actually, but every now and then it does. Ignore, ignore, ignore. Yeah, that's better. Okay, I'm gonna skip the walk around, even though it's such a nice feature of SimCoder's Reality Extension Pack. Parking brakes are set. Live fast fire extinguisher, doors closed, windows closed. ELT set to auto. Flap lever is up, and our flaps are also up. My mixture, side deck, everything is working. Trim is working. Fuel tank set to both. Cutoff is in. Alternate is in. Avionics are off. Off except for beacon. That's good. And my batteries and my switch is working as well. Wonderful. Batteries on. Yeah, I don't like that amount of fuel. So let's just load her up. Something like this. Batteries on, there we go. Let's see how well she does. We should also check all of the lights and stuff, but that's something that I'm not going to do. Avionics on, it's mode C off, 1200, that's good. Flaps down, let's see if they go down, and they go down in sync. They do. Back up, this is loading, which is good. On. And shader messages work as well. What is our airport elevation? That is 177 feet, which corresponds. Wonderful. Heading 21. No, it's off as usual, which is good practice. 300 and a bit.
AFR, thank you very much. 196 Delta, thank you. We turn it right now, very nice. Very right.
Good. We can turn off our comms here, and 13 degrees. Fuel again is check. Wonderful. Avionics off. Throttle a bit in. Again, parking brake set. No one is walking around. Nope. So clear prop. Mixture in. Ignition back to both. Oil pressure is already in the green. Good. 1200. Alternator on. We see a rise in the M-meter. Lean the mixture. Peak RPM already passed. So enriching the mixture a bit. That's good. Back to 1000. Avionics on. Mode C, 1200, that's good for now. And now we can set some frequencies. Boom. That was a quick dinner scrap. Or, depending on where you are in the world, a quick eat. Welcome back. Yes, so we should check all of these self-tests and database current, and obviously it's not current, which is not good, but hey. Yes. Yeah, so what are we going to do? Well, first we're going to fly to Ventura, obviously. But we need to be a bit more strategic of how we're going to set. Are we going to use nav2 or nav1? Well, let's just make it a habit that the primary VOR or primary radio beacon that we're going to use, either whether it's a localizer or ILS or stuff, that's always set to the nav1. So because we're out of still away from that instrument approach primary core chunk, let's use the nav2 for the Ventura VOR here. So that's 108.2, nav2 108.2. Alright, that's set. I see a reading already there to the left of my nav2. That's wonderful. Yeah, and then we need to be a little bit more specific, because I'm not flying with the GPS, and I'd like to do this all by VOR, and we're flying intersections. So yeah, there comes the VOR madness. Yeah, so we're flying from Ventura, and then we're going to hit Suana, which is our first kind of point, obviously, on the approach. And we can reference that particular intersection off from Fillmore, which is 112.5. Now, we could do that just by setting that at an F2, obviously, and just swapping frequencies to see whether we are nearing Suana, but then we also need to use the OBS, or turning the compass rose, which is a bit more difficult. So rather, I will just set the nav1 to Fillmore 112. Just need to run through this in my mind just one more time, but let me see how this might work. 112.5, that's the nav1. Yes. Let's see if we already have reading. Yeah, Fillmore, you can see there is already identified, so that's nice to see. And then we're flying towards the Van Nuys VOR. And that's 113.1. 113.1, which which is now on the standby of the nav1. Okay, so let's see. We're departing Santa Monica. We're flying to the Ventura VOR, which is set currently at 108.2 at the nav2, and it's active. Yes. I'm gonna also look at the map to see what kind of a heading we can expect to fly towards Ventura. Could also just update my flight plan here, but hey, 270. 270. There we go. To be expected, right? That it's already that we're quite near that radial, so that's good. And once we hit Ventura at 4,500, we then need to fly 4,600. We're gonna fly that first initial segment. Yeah, so we're just gonna fly that particular heading. Does that mean that it's also a radial 053? I guess so. A radial 053 outbound from Ventura. That little wavy symbol there means that it's not the scale. Just to fit Ventura on this approach plate, so that's all and good. And that no PT again is no procedure churn, so that means that we can ignore this semi-holding pattern kind of procedure. Yes, and then we're gonna fly to Subuna. So if we got that, yeah. So once we're on that track from Ventura, we set the we're looking at the nav1 here that we can already set to 120. Outbound radial from Fillmore. Yes. Once that crosses the center, we know that we are actually on Suwana. And once we're at Suwana, we then can make a turn to 075, and then we're actually flying towards Van Nuys, I guess. Yes. So then we can swap the nav1 to our Van Nuys frequency, 113.1. Yes, so laterally that seems to work just fine. Yeah, so my frequencies are properly set. Again, what's interesting now is while I'm also concerned with the lateral path of my approach, we should also at the same time then know from which point when we need to descend and to what altitude. So that's going to be fun. But I guess with a Cessna 172 we got a lot of time to think about that, but still it's important. Okay, looks good to me. Then let's have a look at the comm frequencies. SMO. Wonderful. We are currently parked there. So we're really close to 2-1, which is good. I think we're going to get assigned 2-1 for our departure. What frequencies do we need? COM2. COM2. That is... COM2, yeah. 119.15. And I guess that the weather now at Santa Monica is not VMC, so it might be that even though we use the ATIS code here and we're saying we're flying VFR, that the controller might be saying, well, you're not allowed to depart. Perhaps it's marginal VMC, I'm not quite sure, we'll have to see. 119.15, yes, okay, that's currently set. Indy COM2 active. And then we need it for our destination airport. I need to remember to listen to the ATIS of my destination airport because my altimeter setting is crucial, obviously. Always it's crucial, but especially with an approach, instrument approach. Burbank. Burbank, we got multiple. 134.5. Perhaps it should also be on the approach, instrument approach plates. 134.5. Let's have a look. Charts. Approach. ATIS 134.5, which is obviously much more reliable because this is also specific for our, apparently specific for our for this particular approach. Yes, so it's going to be a basic taxi, I expect, and these are just COM ATIS. Yeah, okay, so COM 1, we obviously need to go back to our ground frequencies and stuff. Ground, yeah, and that's going to be 121.9er. Currently set in the active, and approach is 120.1. 120.1. There's no clearance, so we're going to request flight following from the ground controller. Good. We're going to get assigned we're going to get a departure frequency, so we're going to swap all around. 4,500. I think we're pretty much done. Yeah. Okay. I think I don't need that airport diagram anymore. We can already go to this chart. We're going to depart again. 4,500. We not need to go any higher. We're going to follow the coast as best as we can. Otherwise, I'm going to use the GPS when we go into the clouds. Even though we're not allowed to as a VFR pilot, I'm still going to. I just like to fly in real weather. And we can also do all kinds of cloud avoidance, obviously, but don't have the time. Who has the time today? Ah, Germany, scrap. Roger. Daily flew in Burbank with a Delta 737. Awesome. As real as it gets. Cool. Yeah, let's also be a bit more complete here. Why not? Ventura. Done, I think. Done. Scratch pads. So, just to remind myself, let me first listen to the ATIS. If we have an ATIS here on Santa Monica, sometimes for some airports the ATIS doesn't work, and apparently it doesn't work here. So we're going to say that we've got our own weather. We are at the what ramp? Well, we're at the southeast side of the runway. So southeast ramp, or east ramp. Don't really care that much. East ramp, and we are interested in flying the VOR runway 8 approach into Burbank from Ventura Vortec. Well done, Tim. At 4,500. Looks good to me. Okay. Then we can enable COM1. Let's have a listen. See how busy it is actually currently on PilotEdge. One to 1.9er. Just double check. Ground 1 to 1.9er, tower 120. Yeah, that's checked. Don't hear anyone, which is always I'm always getting a little bit doubtful. That sounds good. Perhaps it's not that busy. Okay. East ramp with our own weather, with a VFR request. First a cold call. Santa Monica ground, good day, Skyhawk, Papa Hotel, Tango, India Mike on the east front with a VFR request.
Papa Hotel, Tango, India Mike, Santa Monica ground, go ahead with request.
Papa Hotel, Tango Mike is a Cessna Skyhawk, slant Alpha, east ramp with our own weather. We'd like to depart to the Burbank airport and practice the VOR runway 8 approach into Burbank, starting from the Ventura Vortec, if that's possible. Let's see. Let's hope.
Okay, I see it. Yeah, Papa Hotel, Tango, India Mike. Roger, have your request in.
Thanks. He's gonna now look at that approach to see what he likes me to do. Let's see what's gonna happen. Meanwhile, engine is warm.
Hotel Tango, actually, stand by.
Exciting. Also, new voice. I don't recognize the controller here, so that's also cool. Perhaps he's going to say something about the weather. Interesting. Bit surprising. Let's see what's going on. He's not busy talking to anyone else.
Hotel Tango India Mike. Departure frequency 125.2 squawk 4201.
Departure frequency 125.2 and squawk 4201 for Papa Hotel Tango Mike.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike correct. We're call ready for taxi.
We're ready for taxi, Papa Hotel Tango Mike.
Papa Hotel Tango, yeah, Mike. Santa Monica ground runway 21, taxi via Bravo.
21 via Bravo, thanks Papa Hotel Tango Mike.
Number 8 Echo Sierra, report procedure turn inbound.
Alright, that's good. So, again, double check, engine is warm enough, at least, yeah, obviously. And we are
345
ready to go.
2-1 34.2
is over there, double check. 2-1 heads to that direction. Yeah, so we need to go opposite. Good. There's the taxiway. I don't see anyone taxiing here.
Number 8 Echo Sierra, disregard.
Release the parking brakes. Brakes are working. Turning there, slip indicator, turn indicator, heading indicator. Everything else is stable. Looks good. Compass is turning as well. There we go. Nice airport. And it's gonna get closed, Santa Monica, in 2020 or 2025, or the runway is gonna be shortened and blah. Angry clouds. Runway 21 confirmed. Let me see, is there a run-up area here? Is that the runway? I don't know. Let's just park over here. Ignore the taxi sign. Well, there we go. In the wind. Engine is already warm enough. Mixture full in. 1800s. There we go. 1800. No associated messages. Everything is still stable. Looks good. That's the left mag. Looks good. Back to both. Right mag. Comparable. Looks good. Back to both. Vacuum is in the green.
Number 345 Alpha Bravo.
Idle.
SoCal approach,
Engine is
Roger,
still
Birmingham,
running.
altimeter
Oil pressure still in the
3004. Let me know
green.
when you have the weather and the airport in sight.
Back to 1000. All right. Controls to the right. That one goes down. That one goes up. That one goes down. That one goes up. Up, down. Trim is working. All right. Standing lights on. Strobe lights on. One more check. So we're gonna depart 4,500 to Ventura first. We already said it. Not really interested in. Are we interested in a particular? Why did I set it to 270? Why did I set it to 270? Oh, because I just used the ruler there. Yeah, so it's gonna be already something like 2. So yeah, perhaps we're gonna get a. I think with the departure with Santa Monica, we need to fly to the coast first and then make our turn. We'll have to see. And we need to get through those clouds. In any case, we got the GPS there that can help us. Anything else, ladies and gentlemen? I think not. Fasten your seatbelts. We're going to take off. Switch to tower, and let's also set a frequency for our departure here, obviously. 125.2, so we are prepared. 125.2. 125.2, check. Santa Monica Tower, Skyrock Papa Hotel, Tango India Mike. Swimming short 2-1, ready for departure.
Papa Hotel Tango India Mike, Mike Tower, runway 21. Wind 103, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 2-1, Papa Hotel Tango Mike, thanks. Why I included thanks, I don't know, but I did. Alright, landing lights on, everything. Mixture is full in. Gonna use the full runway.
345 Alpha Bravo, Roger. You can
No one on final.
8, connect Burbank Tower 118.
Always double check. No one's on the runway. There we go. Look at that curved runway. Nice. Full power. There we go, guys. First VOR approach. Engine's looking good, full power RPM, 40, 50, and 60. Rotates. No flaps this time. Goes down. Get to VY first. Oh yeah, we're gonna fly in the soup.
Burbank Tower, November 245, Alpha Bravo, 6 miles to the east, 2,500
Enjoy the
feet.
sights.
Solid.
LAX there. The distance.
345 Alpha Bravo, Burbank Tower, enter right downwind runway 8 to report to midfield.
Totally illegal now. We're gonna
Right
fly
downwind
in the
runway
clouds.
8 and report midfield, November 245, Alpha Bravo.
Yeah, they do, Mike. They do.
Papa Hotel Tango Indy Mike on XOCA departure, good flight.
Over to departure. Thanks for the help. Switch. SoCal departure. Sky Pop Hotel Tango Indy Mike is at 900 for 4,500 to Ventura.
Papa Hotel Tango Indy Mike, SoCal departure, radar contact, climb to crested VFR cruising altitude and proceed on course.
Proceed on course, 4,500. Papa Tango. So he just said stick to VFR altitudes. That's good. We're already topping those clouds, which is nice.
Tango Indy Mike, what is your, what are you going to be cruising at?
And we're going to be cruising at 4,500 if that's okay.
Fine with me, I'll just show it, thanks.
Roger. As I said 3 times. Alright, looks good. If I look at my radial here, R4, I'm not really concerned with that particular radial to fly, but it was a good guess. VY still, and we're going up, and we're already clear of clouds. I can do fancy stuff now with my new cameras, I think. Let's see if I can. Oh yeah, not enough to see, but and I got this one. It's like mounting a webcam or a webcam, mounting a GoPro on your Skyhawk, which is nice. Still need to tinker a bit more with the X camera, but I like it. Alrighty. Landing lights off. Still engine's looking good. Looking good. 7 degrees outside, so technically I should have already turned on my pitot tube heat. And we could. Let's just turn it on. 3,000 feet, that's good. Let's start leaning already. So more conservative with fuel. There goes the EGT to the left. Wonderful. Continue our climb. Alright, feeling too comfortable, always do something. So what we could do is already check in with the ATIS of Burbank, if it exists.
Bob Hope Airport Burbank Information X-ray. 1700 Zulu weather. Wind calm, visibility more than 10. Sky clear, temperature 16.
Yeah, weather is still the same.
345 Alpha Bravo, wind calm, runway 8 cleared away.
3003. Arriving runway 33.
003,
that's good.
Papa Hotel Tango Indy Mike, contact SoCal approach 1. Yeah, I'll make it 134.2.
134.2, Papa doesn't make. 134.2. I'm drifting off to the right there. SoCal approach, Sky Pop Hotel Tango Indy Mike is at 4,100 to 4,500.
Papa Hotel Tango Indy Mike, SoCal approach, Roger, Van Nuys altimeter 3004.
04, Papa doesn't make.
465 Los Angeles clearance cleared to the Jackson Hole Airport.
04.
Departure Las Vegas transition, then is filed. Climb to the city, accept, maintain 5,000.
That's about right.
Departure frequency 125.2, squawk 4277.
Alright, getting to 4,500. Thanks for the follow, Git. Thank you. And pushing that nose down. Good. That's that air speed increase.
465, read back correct.
Looking good. There goes the speed again, further trimming. That's good enough for me. Reduce the power there a bit. Just lean a bit more. Oh, yes, we can. Yes, we can. Drops a bit more power there. I'd like to be at around 100 feet indicated, or 100 knots indicated. All right, double cross-check our heading indicator. So 260-ish, 260-ish. That's good. All right. While we are going to Ventura, let's again brief what we're trying to do here. From Ventura, we're going to turn around. So that's going to be our next, so we need to reset our OBS here to 053 outbound. We're going to fly outbound 17.6 nautical miles.
Number 45 Yankee, John 1 clearance.
While we are looking at our nav1 here, which is set to Fillmore, right? 112.5, yes. And it's set at the 120 radial. So once it's
145 Yankee
at center,
cleared to the Montgomery field
of our nav1 instrument, then we know that we're actually at Suwana.
Radar vectors to join Victor 23 to Mission Bay direct.
At Suwana, we need to be already at 4,400, at least 4,400.
Departure frequency 128.1, squawk 4022.
Yeah, so I guess once we are at 3 miles before Suwana, we can already descend from our 4,600, that initial segment, to 4,400. It's only 200 feet. Again, we're flying with the Cessna Skyhawk, so we have so much time to mess around here. I've already captured that needle there to Ventura, so let's head back there.
Number 5 Yankee, correct.
Okay, and then we need to get down to 3 south. Yeah. All right.
Number 5 Alpha Bravo, taxi departing via Charlie, remain this frequency. Good day.
Also need to go down a bit more. Not really. I mean, it's good that I'm briefing. But again, flying the airplane always comes first. So I'm 200 feet too high. Not exactly on the needle. Which is not a hard thing, but once I start to multitask, I notice that I'm losing track of things. 2 degrees outside, and still engine is going strong. All right. Creeping in on that needle nav too, that's good. And 4,500. I'm not going to retrim because obviously our airspeed changed because of that small descent, so I'm just going to use my yoke here. We're gradually slowing down, and that should do the trick. Nice and easy. Some mountain peaks there to the right. And again, we are VFR right now, legally VFR. We could fly over the clouds. Should be above 1,000 feet or so above the clouds. As a student pilot, I believe you always need to have visual reference with the ground, but we're pretending to be PPL pilots here, as we already completed all of the VFR CAT ratings on PilotEdge. Alright, 4,500, that's good. Kimo, thank you for your subscription, buddy. Thanks, appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, guys, that means a lot, really. Not that it's the primary fuel for doing this. I mean, I also appreciate your chats and encouragements and tips here on the in the chat. But that's financial support really helps me to expand on other stuff that I'm doing. For example, the digital audio recorders you can use as part of my donation goal to create our own fancy, highly animated Skyhawk. A Skyhawk that I would like to fly in X-Plane, fully animated and stuff. Reddist, thank you for the follow. Welcome on board. Good evening, Kimo. Really knows how to make an entry. Okay, we have no DME for Ventura, at least not on my nav2 here. I don't even know if it's a DME, if it's a VOR attack or not. So I'm just waiting for it to flip. So I'm always peeking down here, and the needle should also become a bit more sensitive, and it's gonna eventually lead to the left or to the right. Again, double check our heading indicator with our compass, because our heading indicator will drift off. Engine is looking good. Vacuum, everything is still looking good. West-west, west-west, looks good. Okay. Everything is still looking okay. Yes, serious, obviously. I'm still working on my own 172, yeah. But I've taken a little bit of a break. I'm also still a sim pilot, right? And I was still busy trying to get as close to a real-world instrument rating and flight simulator as I can. So at UncertifiedPilot.com I have my own training schedule. And while I started already with doing those training flights, but then I came across this idea, hey, I'd like to build my own Skyhawk for X-Plane. And so I started a new parallel series, which you can also find on YouTube. But then I needed to switch again back to my IFR flying here. So that's what I'm going to do right now, practicing all kinds of different types of approaches, instrument approaches. And soon I'm going to hop over back to that other parallel series, developing my own Skyhawk. And then I'm going to work with Blender, so real proper animated 3D modeling software. I cannot wait. Got all kinds of video reference photos and stuff of a real 172 SP from my local airport here. And boy, I've got some cool ideas of making it much more animated and also much more realistic. Even this Skyhawk, if you're really nerdy about it, is so off in terms of, I mean, for example, I cannot even read the annunciator panel from this view, which is silly. The dashboard is much too leading out, or how to say that in English. It should be much smaller so we can actually read the annunciator panel. That kind of stuff, but also kinds of other cool things that I'm going to work on. So thanks for the follow, Bug Fan. Thank you. Appreciate the support. Again, 4,500, Ventura. Still no signs. We can also use the GPS obviously here to have a sense of where we are, but let's do this a little bit more old school style. EGT still nicely high up, engine is looking good. Nicely leaned, outside 3 degrees. We've got moist, as you can see, clouds, so pitot tube heat is on. Strobe light is on. Everything is looking
45 Yankee German
good.
ground runway 20 right at Kilo. Taxi via Bravo and Kilo.
What clouds, guys? And again, it's so weird. I mean, even though I'm already practicing bits of IFR flying, I'm really looking forward to making complete IFR flights, also doing en route planning. I've already studied all of those en route load charts and stuff. Fascinating stuff. So yeah, and then I'm going to do proper IFR flights and also reading back my first IFR clearance. That's cool to me. I remember when I started flying on on PilotEdge that I was already thinking about. One day I'm gonna actually read back a IFR clearance, and I have no idea what IFR flying actually means. And now, as I progress, it's amazing intellectually how far you can come if you just keep at it, flying. And also with the support of the community, obviously, at PilotEdge, but also here at Twitch, how much stuff you guys already know and are willing to share. It's just so empowering, literally. Let me see. Still a bit off, but I have a feeling that it's already... Oh, you can already see it here. Cheat. There's the Ventura VOR. So I guess this is just me not paying attention flying that radial. So again, ADS, we got X-ray for current at Burbank. Ventura. So once we hit Ventura, we're going to make that turn to 053. I would guess an outbound radial 053. 17.6 nautical miles, so that's a much longer leg than it actually appears to be looking at the chart. You can see with that wavy ocean-like symbol there at the beginning, saying that this is not to scale to fit Ventura onto the approach plate. And you can see no PT again, no procedure turn, and procedure turns can exist in the form of these kinds of holding patterns to get down to the right altitude if you're coming from high from your en route portion of your flight, or just to turn around when we're coming from the east.
In the Papa Hotel Tango India Mike cross the Ventura VOR at or above 4,600. Cleared VOR runway 8 practice approach, maintain VFR.
We'll stay above 4,600 at Ventura. We're cleared for the VFR approach, runway 8. Papa Hotel Tango. Practice approach, I should have said as well, which makes it, I think that makes a difference.
445 Yankee, Join Tower, runway 20 right at Kilo, cleared for takeoff.
So what we can do is go up, and that 4,600 makes sense because we already read that on the chart, right? As you can look at there, that first Ventura chunk, 4,600. Even though we're still flying VFR, that 100 feet I don't really care about. 4,600, there we go. What I'm also excited about in terms of this particular VOR approach, again, first time ever flying a VOR approach. Oh, no, let me put this in another way. When I was preparing my training program for training for IFR flight at PilotEdge, preparing for the I ratings and stuff, I initially thought that the ILS would be the grand, final, difficult, complex challenge. But it actually is not. It's the most helpful. It's the most easy one, actually. Because it provides you lateral and vertical guidance. In terms of a VOR approach or an NDB approach, you're not provided with that much guidance, or you need to read that off from your chart. It's actually a bit more challenging. So that's interesting. And so for this VOR approach, we did ILS approach, also sidestep approach yesterday, which was not a biggie, but it was fun. We are not going to be aligned with runway 8 like an ILS would or a localizer would. We're actually coming in from an angle, which is interesting. I can show you, obviously, looking at this approach. So we're flying to Van Nuys VOR. That's the VOR that we're using to get into Burbank, which is already a bit weird, or interesting, I should say.
45 Yankee, SoCal departure.
We'll make a turn, and this is the angle.
Transponder, squawk mode C.
So that's interesting. But let's focus. We're about to hit Ventura. 053, that's interesting. 053.
And was that United 2194 calling John Wayne for your clearance to San Francisco?
Again, we're VFR, so we
29,
should look outside, even though we're also on flight following.
Runway clearance cleared to the San Francisco International Airport. Hero 2 departure, IK
turn.
transition, then as filed. Climb with the SIDIC set, maintain 5,000. Departure frequency 128.1. Squawk 21, correction, 4020.
And there we go. So a greater probability that I'm going to make mistakes today.
2194, read back correct.
Because it's the first VR approach I ever
45
flown.
Yankee Yankee, still got departure radar contact.
From reading, that's good.
Let's see, turn right. Make that a left. Left turn heading 100, join reach.
Radials to the right of us,
navigation.
so let's overturn just a tiny bit. Let's go 060. And we should be able to catch it in just a second.
465, Los Angeles ground runway 25 left, taxi via Bravo and Foxtrot, hold short runway 25 right.
So set the heading bug here to 8, so I know that's the runway. Oh, we're looking for that needle to creep in, but it's not really coming in yet. Slide a bit more to the right. I'm always a bit confused whether I should apply this scheme as reverse sensing, whether now we should actually fly to the left to capture that particular needle, but it's not the case. We are reading from, we're also flying from, actually physically flying from or away from the Ventura, so this should work. Yeah, there it goes. Also need to not fly that much high up, stay close to 4,600. So there comes the needle. Good. And there we go. Overshot it just a tiny bit. 0.5 fish. That's good. Keep that nose down. Gain some speed by our descent. Alright, so now we're on that first initial segment. That's cool. X-plane loads new weather. Again, where's XEnviro, the new version or a better version? Or there was a new version, but I didn't read any good reviews. I'm not pleased with the... I mean, the default weather in X-plane is great, but these kinds of weather changes make it obvious that we're flying a sim. Sometimes I'm so immersed, I'm so engaged in flying that I just forget about the whole thing, which is a great feeling. Russian fire, oh. Alright, let me see. Yeah, so we got 17 miles and a bit. We've already used up a few of those miles catching that particular radial. Okay, and we're now waiting for to get to Suwana. That's good. And Suwana, we're gonna, it's an intersection, and we're not gonna use the GPS here, so I'm gonna reference or locate Suwana based off of cross-referencing my VORs. So the 120 radial outbound from Fillmore, together with our 053 radial outbound from Ventura that we are flying, we should be able to know exactly when we are at Suwana. Also 11.4 nautical miles away from the Van Nuys VOR. That's good. So I set the 120 radial here.
Yeah, 465 Los Angeles Tower, runway 25 right, cleared for takeoff.
Which is from, and we're flying towards. I don't really
My apologies.
care about
Too
that.
much of a habit there. You know, 465 cross runway 25 right, 25 left, cleared for takeoff.
So yeah, we just fly this radial, and as soon as this one hits the center, we know that we're at Suwana.
VFR traffic at your 10 to 11 o'clock in 2 miles. Appears to be climbing through your altitude south eastbound and type in them.
So that's interesting. And what's also interesting is we're now flying this initial segment at 4,600 like ATC instructs us to do. But if you look at the profile view,
045 Yankee, maintain visual separation.
we need to be at 4,400, which is not a big difference. But anyway, 4,400 or above 4,400. So we could also fly 4,600, but 4,400 once we reach the Suwana intersection. And I think we can start the descent 3 miles before we hit that intersection to 4,400 if you like. It's not a big deal for us, but again, above the clouds, guys, and it's a wonderful area here to fly in terms of photoreal and lensing. We're not seeing anything obviously because we're flying above the clouds here, but it's a nice nice area. Still looking good. Running lights, let's just turn those on. Also looking, the weather is much better on that side. Also good to see. Let's keep it to the right here, Tim. Engine is still looking good. EGT nicely high up. Oil pressure, vacuum.
United 465 coming, so got a bunch of good flight.
Once we hit Suwana, we're going to fly a heading of 075, which is going to be just inbound to the Van Nuys VOR 113.1, which is in the standby of the Nav1, so that's just a quick flip. And once we flip it, we can turn this one to 075. And then we need to descend also to 3,700. Yeah, we have 6.3 nautical miles to do that, which with our Cessna is just fine.
Yeah, 2194 push tail south on Alpha is approved cover taxi.
Interesting. I also noticed the importance of just how to brief the approach plate. So to also have a systematic approach of doing that, and I'm still just exploring and returning to the approach plate, just repeating that brief a couple of times, which is good, but I think there's a more systematic way of doing this. I guess I will develop it over time while I'm making these IFR flights, but I really like the psychological, cognitive part of becoming a proper flight, a proper pilot, IFR pilot, but also VFR pilot, being
United 465, turn left, left turn right, clipper, resume navigation.
Critically reflective, I guess, while you're flying, noticing any anomalies, but also being creative, especially as a VFR pilot. Rather than just having hands-on skills of knowing how to flare the aircraft, but also have an intellectual or more academic orientation of how to fly. That really attracts me to the to our nice hobby. Let's see if we're going to see that needle. Yeah, the needle is already turning in, so that's good. We're getting near to Suwana. I would guess about 3 miles. So I'm descending now to 4,400. Once it's centered, we're going to turn to 075 and descend to 3,700. Continue to descend to 3,700. Already cleared for the VOR approach. I can fly the thing. Almost there at Suwana. Alright. And boom, we're at Suwana. So let's make that turn. 0.5, 0.75, which is not far off of our runway. Nav 1, switch to Van Nuys. We got a reading, that's good. continue our descent, and we can set this cute little thing to 075. And it matches like it should. Cross
Hotel
check.
Tango Indy Mike, how will this approach terminate?
Could you repeat that for Papa Hotel Mike? Sorry.
I'm just wondering how this approach will terminate.
Hopefully with a smooth landing, but we'll just make it a full stop. Thanks.
Papa Hotel Tango Mike, thank you.
That was just a little bit of fun there. I think he's a new guy. I like his controlling though, but still.
465, connect Los Angeles Center 125.27, good day.
Ah, B2, roger. Good to see you, by the way.
414, correction, November 45 Yankee contact, so call approach 119.6, good day.
Yeah, but I should make this a little bit more of an aggressive descent, rather.
Up Hotel Tango Indy Mike, connect Burbank Tower now 118.7, good day.
118.7, Papa Hotel Mike. 118.7.
45 Yankee, so call approach roger, the Palomar altimeter 3005.
Come on, stay on track, Tim. We're still descending. 3,700, there we go. Burbank Tower, Sky Papa Hotel Tango Mike is on the VOR runway 8 approach, 3,700.
Papa Hotel Tango Indy Mike, Burbank Tower, wind 120 runway 8, clear land.
Clear land, runway 8, Papa Hotel Tango Mike. Alright, awesome. So, but I'm noticing a mistake here on my part. 5.1 mistake, I'm not really that prepared. So 3,700, that was good, but I should have called out that I was approaching my minimum altitude here. That's the first. I'm also off of my radial here, which is not good. I'm still flying 075, but I think it's a radial that I need to fly. So let's be a little bit more precise. And what's my next decision point? And that is hitting Cannog, which is at 4.1 DME from the Van Nuys VOR. We're currently at 6.6, so now I've got a sense again what's my next point, and then we need to descend to 3,100. So yeah, this is interesting. I'm noticing the it's a little bit more of a multitask rather than just catching a ILS approach and that's it. This is interesting. 5.9, 5.8, again calling out the same thing. 5.7 nautical miles. Still above 3,700, that's good. Good speed. Slowly creeping in on that Van Nuys VOR, that's nice. Landing lights are on, everything's on. We're still leaned above 3,000 feet. MSL, so that's good as well. And there's 5.1. Good. Let's descend to 3,100. If X-plane allows. X-plane, please. Thank you. Back to that VOR.
Number 6515 Delta, cleared to the Imperial Airport, border 7 departure, Imperial transition, direct. Maintain 8,000, expect 9,000 5 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 119.6.
Alright,
Squawk
this is better.
3723.
Again, altimeter setting.
November 6515 Delta, cleared to the Imperial Airport, border 7 departure, Imperial transition, direct. Maintain 6,000, expect 9,000 5 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 119.6, squawk 3723.
Visibility more than 10.
15 Delta, reback correct.
Sky clear. Temperature 18. Dew point 9. Altimeter 3004.
04.
Arriving run.
04. That's still set current. Okay, nice. Reset my thingy. There we go. Okay, 3,100 coming up. Still a bit off my VOR there. And it's the here's Van Nuys. There's the airport. But not our destination airport, which is a bit weird. So we're using a VOR that is not referenced to our destination airport. Okay, still gaining, still flying 75 here. A little bit more to the left. There's your 3,100. Alright, we need to stay here until we cross over. We'll just bring up the approach place so you guys can look. But we first stabilize here. This is good. Here we go. We're now 2.2 nautical miles away from Venice. We're now on the VOR radial there. 75. Good. 1.9 nautical mile. And then once we hit the Venice, we're going to make a turn to 089 and we're going to fly to the runway 08. And it's going to be a little bit more of a steeper descent, right? 3.46 degrees of an angle. So this is going to be interesting. 1.3. Where is Burbank? Oh, sorry guys. Boom. Burbank. Somewhere around there. Okay. 0. something. 0.8. Still going to go to 0 because we're overflying it. So we're 0.3, 0.4 away from the VOR because we're overflying. We're at an altitude. There we go. Hey, Foggy, good to see you. That's it. I think this is good for me. So now let's turn to 089er. And descend with a little bit more aggressive.
November clearance in November 6.
Already clear to land.
With information Yankee at landmark
089-ish. And where is runway 08? We're going to hit it at an angle. If you look at the blades here, so that's interesting.
We're 6515 Delta Limburg ground, runway 27 taxi via Charlie.
27 via Charlie 15 Delta.
Come on, stay on course, Tim. Go down. Where is the airport? There's the airport. You can see the tower.
Jumping ground.
And there's runway 8.
2194 on Alpha, ready to taxi.
Yeah, 2194, Jumping ground, runway 20 right, taxi via Alpha Lima, hold short, runway 20 left.
Come on, Tim, stay on your heading.
Right,
it's
Alpha
not too
Lima,
bad,
hold
but it's not
short,
perfect.
left,
We're below 3,000 feet, so mixture full in, lights are on, just fly the airplane. Tick that box. In terms of learning, first notch of flaps. So far so good. Again, we already have clearance to land. I think we did it, guys. Or I did it. My first VOR approach. This is more exciting. A little bit more work. Exactly, B2. Yeah. I had that also with some custom weather that I set.
Holding short, runway 27 at Charlie.
With my ILS approaches just above minimum position height, which is really fun. Alright, still looking for that runway. Yeah, there it is. Runway 8. And we're going to park over there. Alright, I think I improved on all the things I'd like to improve on. I checked the ATIS before, also while.
Charlie Tower, good morning, United 2194.
I'm flying the airplane, not forgetting my mixture. Pitot heats.
That's 2194, Join Tower, cross runway 20
now.
left, runway 20 right, clear for takeoff.
Cross 20 left,
so I'm
20
pleased,
right,
actually.
Clear for takeoff, United 2194.
And there we go. Should have perhaps also briefed my minimum height here. So which is 1,600 feet that we can go. So we could still go further down right now, even though we were still in the clouds. But now I would worry a bit in that case, like, do we see the runway? Do we see the runway? If we're not going to see any visual of the runway, including the lights, runway lights, then we should abort and do our missed approach procedure. And that's going to be quite... Not a notch of flaps. That's going to be a thrill, man. Real world IFR flight and almost down to minimums.
Yankee, let me know when you have the Montgomery weather and say approach request.
Okie-doke, 20 degrees of flaps. Let's going to enjoy this wonderful landing here at Burbank, guys. Look at the scenery. It's such a nice area. Also did the visual approach, charted approach a while ago.
Yankee, say again.
Which was also such a cool, the 4 stacks visual approach was also very, very cool.
Yankee, just let me know when you have the Montgomery weather and say
okay, again, mixture full in, everything is set. 4 wides. So let's get down a bit more. Thanks for the follow, Kramer. Thank you. And there we go. Nice on the speed. A bit more trims up. Let's go full flaps here. Made the field.
5 Yankee, what you can expect ILS runway 2 right then.
And here we go.
Delta contact departure, have a good flight.
Departure, thanks for your help. Have a good day. 15.
Also great airport scenery here.
2194, contact departure, have a good flight.
Made by Greg.
Departure
GPB
United
500.
2194, thanks.
Orbix quality like airport scenery. I love it. Tucked in into some more higher res photo reel, as you can see here in front of us.
Delta, SoCal departure, radar contact, climb maintain 900,000.
Let's see if I can even switch with some cameras here just before
United
the end.
21094, SoCal departure, radar contact, climb the 6, maintain 13,000.
Yeah. Bit irresponsible, but hey. Like to go to the left, so first taxiway we might... No, it's a bit late. Let's take the second taxiway. But look at this. Doesn't it look cute? Man. Alrighty. Nose up, nose up, nose up, nose up. On our heels. Slowly nose wheel down. Wonderful. Flaps up. What's also nice is that obviously on the approach plate here we can also see the ground frequency. 123.9. Thank you, Cam. Here we are. This is Delta 7. Always a little bit keep your speed going here, so we make the runway free for any other aircraft, even though it's not busy on PilotEdge, it's just courteous. Delta 7. Get our
Number
butts,
5 Yankee.
butts behind the
Mission
threshold
Bay,
line.
heading 100.
There we are. Back to 1,000. Landing lights off, strobe lights off. Let's lean for ground again. Something like
45
this.
Yankee, it's 100 after Mission Bay.
And there we go. Where do we like to go to? Yeah, Millionaire. Just in front of us, that would be cool. But I think Atlantic is also somewhere over here. Let's go to Millionaire because I see the signs. That was not the button that I'd like to press. Okay, still with Tower. Yeah. Delta 7. And Burbank Tower, Skypopper Delta Tango Mike is clear runway 8 at Delta 7. Taxi to Millionaire here in front of us.
Papa Hotel, Tango to Mike, taxi straight ahead to parking, and you can remain this frequency. Have a good day.
We'll remain on this frequency and just taxi straight ahead. Thanks for the help today, Papa Delta Mike.
See ya.
Alright, there we go. Awesome. And again, PilotEdge accommodates these nice practice approaches. This is fun. This is fun. Learning something new, appreciating the IFR system. Also new multitasking skills. It was a bit challenging. I'm going to review the flight soon. Let me see how we're going to park here. This seems for the bigger jets. Perhaps Millionaire is for the bigger jets. I don't know. Millionaire. Let's just park it over here, even though I don't think this is appropriate for a Cessna Skyhawk. But there's my car. That's the excuse. Alrighty. Let's first turn off our transponder so we are off of the radar. And then I can set it to VFR for the next time, so we're not bleeping any squawk code once we start up again. Then avionics off. Let's do a mag test, both back to both. There's an RPM dip, so we know that our magneto or ignition switch is actually working. Cut off. Wait until the prop stops. Magnetos, and then the Parker brakes. And let's pick right this time, if I may. Yeah. Door open. And there we are. Completed our first VOR approach. That was awesome. It was my first VOR approach, at least. That was interesting. So again, as you can see, it's a bit more challenging because even though, I mean, the entire approach procedure, instrument approach procedure, still gives you lateral and vertical guidance. But in this case, the vertical bit, because we're flying a VOR approach, we need to study or grab by reading the charts, right? This little profile view thingy. opposed to flying an ILS, where also the vertical guidance is just provided here on your cute little Nav1, which is a bit more easy. You've got all the information, just you need to catch the ILS, and then you're pretty much done. So that's the challenge of a VOR approach. In addition to that, you're not really, in this case, that we are not really lined up completely nicely with the center line of runway 08. In this case, we had VMC here, so it was very, very doable. But that was also interesting. Nice, very cool. Yeah, one thing that I noticed when I was a bit, I was good at preparing that first initial descent from Suwana down, but then once I did, I mean 6.3 miles is some time for a Skyhawk, but I didn't already rehearse my next task. So while I was descending to 3700, I was tweaking with the Van Nuys VOR. And then I thought, oh my gosh, what's actually my next point? When do I need to make another descent, another step down? And luckily I was still in time, but that was not really, I was behind of time. And this is also what IFR flying is doing, actually also VFR flying, is intellectually, mentally, you are forced or stimulated to fly ahead, mentally, virtually flying ahead of time. You should always think ahead, in 5 miles, what do I need to do, rather than being in the present and in the now. That doesn't apply to pilots. We're in the future. We need to be in the future to be on time in a way. Thank you, Pat. Hope you're having a good Saturday as well. So this is cool. Let's have a look at our landing and also just our entire flight path. That might be awesome. PilotEdge disconnect.
Disconnected.
Please, this was nice. First, let's just also close the door, because otherwise we'll see a Cessna with an open door. And that doesn't work. I guess not. There it goes. Recorder. Let's go back. There we go. C. Control P. Great feature here in X-Plane. And there's Burbank, and there was Van Nuys here. So again, we're using a VOR, a Vortec from another airport to get down to Burbank. That's interesting. Interesting. This was the flight. You can see my step downs here. Getting down, and you can see for my second jump, this is Suwana, I think, because here we're still at that same altitude. Yeah, this is Ventura. Yeah, so this is Santa Monica. We're going up 4,500. There's Ventura, 4,600. You can see I just climbed a bit. Then we're there over Ventura. I need to capture that radial, so I needed to go a little bit more this direction. So that's what you're seeing here. Then I was on that radial 053. Then I went to here. Oh no, this was Suwana, I think. No, it's not. Why is that bent there? Just a bit curious. I mean, no, it's not a bend. It's just an altitude change. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this is Suwana, and then we made that. Turn 075. So let's go down a bit. I'm just curious to see how much time I actually had for descending, just to have a better picture in my mind of what's going on. Going down, so this was that same altitude. Yeah, I had all the time in the world here. Then I went down, and this is where I was not thinking ahead too much. Luckily, it did work out just fine.
Bob Hope Airport, Burbank, information X-ray. 1800 Zulu weather. Wind calm. Visibility more than 10.
Oh, because I did check into ATIS, and the flight recorder is... Alright, my bad.
Arriving runway.
See, whoop. Yeah, so yeah, this was the time that I still had left before I needed to make that additional descent, and here I was free to just see Burbank and just fly on my own. Yeah, once we reached Van Nuys. Yeah, so that's the only thing. It could have been a bit more rehearseful, I guess. Let's go. Let's ignore this flight path and let's go to the landing. And there we go. And I really greased that landing. It was nice. Good weather conditions, obviously, so that made it a lot more easy. Oh yeah. Nose up. Main wheels first. And just the airplane knows when it likes to land. So just keep it up and it just tells you when it's ready, and there it is. Slowly lowering the nose. And so nice scenery. It's nice. I did put that. That was a bit. I don't know if you guys saw, but oh, let me do that one more time. Perhaps the approach plate was in view. Again, nose up. Main wheels first. There you go. Yeah. We missed that first taxi exit. Don't really mind. And it's always good to also rehearse where you like to go to, or plan where you like to go to in terms of your parking, because sometimes it makes quite a difference whether you're actually like to get to that particular taxiway that gives you a shortcut towards your desired ramp, other than just crossing a runway and then you need to go all the way around to get to your ramp. So it's always good practice to do that also as part of your just pre-flight. Just like this sound, it's so cool. Jerry, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it, guys. No procedure turn is now auto hosting. That's awesome. Thanks. And there we are at Burbank. Yeah, so I'm very pleased. First VOR approach. No hiccups, no mistakes. I did quite well. The only thing was that here, halfway down, I was not prepared enough. And luckily I had some time to just then look at the chart to see what my next step down would be. So in the future I would do a more complete rehearsal here to make sure that I was on par. And that's about it in terms of A to C as well. Good squawk codes, good communications. That means that my very next flight is going to be a localizer back course approach. That's going to be interesting. Yeah. But I could also do what I'm also interested in doing. Perhaps I can combine that with the back course localizer approach. Is also doing circling approach. So then you use an approach, get to the runway, but instead of just landing, you do a kind of a semi-traffic pattern, just get all the way around to the other side of the runway or some other runway to land there, hoping that you're clear of clouds, obviously, and you're still safe from any obstacles. Interesting. Also a variation to doing an instrument approach with separate minimums. So perhaps we can combine that rather than just dedicating an entire stream to that. So a back course localizer approach with a circling procedure. That would be interesting, I think. I think that would be interesting. Okay. Also one thing, why not also stream that? Let's put in my hours. Thanks for the follow, 186 Mustang. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate it, guys. Thanks for the support. Date. So this is an app that I'm using just to record all of my own flights. PilotEdge is recording also many of those, but not all of them. And I just like the idea of just having my own logbook here. It's exports to Dropbox and stuff. It's called Pilot Pro. I will have a look. I don't know what the name is. Kong. No, not Kong. KSMO, right? And we went to Burbank. But no, Burbank. Duration, I don't really care that much. I think it was about 45 minutes. One landing. Route, I don't care. Distance, I do care. Because I just care. Maps, flight plan, This is 66 nautical mile-ish. 66 nautical miles. Hey, Valduz, thanks. Good to see you here. Yeah, went pretty well. My first VOR approach, again, as part of my IFR training here. So next up is that back course localizer approach that I'm going to do with a circling kind of procedure. It's so exciting. And I know you're already familiar with IFR flying, Valduz, but I'm not, and it's so cool just to get into the cool IFR flying club here on Twitch. Let me see, 66 nautical miles. That was solo, at least. We were flying with 45 people aboard, but let's make that solo. I was in charge. Cross country, well, it was 45 minutes. Remarks. My first ever VOR approach. And actually, these comments, I mean, they look silly, but I can go back to my first flight on PilotEdge, and I can still read through these remarks, and they're so nice to see. Like, for example, anxious to talk to ADC, to contact ADC, and just to see that, I know, it's nice. A logbook is cool. Tip: keep your logbook. First ever VR approach. Bit task saturated, though. Yeah, it comes with practice, I think, and experience, but yeah, you need to fly, you need to look at the charts, you need to talk with ADC. Yeah, it's and just a signature which doesn't mean anything, but let's do that and edit. And what is my current? 211 hours I've been flying since the first flight, my first stream on the Uncertified Pilot channel, of which I don't quite get actually. Oh, these are 419 flights a day, or landings. I think these are landings, yeah. So 490 landings by day, 90 by night. Yeah, and you can here see a general graph of my flying activity. 1 year, which is cool. Distance, about 10,000 nautical miles. Solo. Yeah, also second in command. So I'm also logging my flights that I did with Mrs. Uncertified as a flight instructor, which is cool, I think. And cross country. And you can put in your own aircraft. So what is this app? I mentioned it a while ago, but let's also sync this to Dropbox. If it does that, or it already did. No. Good. This is called the... Where can I see it? How is it app called? I think it's the Pilot Pro app. Pilot Pro? Where's the logo? Where's the name? I think it's the Pilot Pro app in the iTunes store, I think. The app costs 30 euros, I think. So it's expensive, but it's popular and it works really, really great. You can also use ForFlight, but then you need to also upgrade your subscription much more substantially, which is cool because then you can very quickly export your flight plan to your logbook. But it's, yeah, I started with Pilot Pro there, and I just like to have it aside also with Dropbox and stuff. That's my preference. Make sure to sign it off. Exactly 733. Yeah, guys, that's about it. So, thank you for the encouragement. Thank you for the support. My first VOR approach again. I'm so proud. For me, this is just new terrain, a new world of IFR flying, and I don't know what a VOR approach is like, and I can read charts and stuff, which is good. Next up, again, a localizer back course approach. So we also need to do our own step downs, but then we're doing reverse sensing with the localizer, and we're also going to add on top of that a circling maneuver. So we're not going to fly eventually to the runway that the approach plate is assigned to or is meant for. We're actually going to then, once we are low enough, near enough to the airport, we're going to fly around and land on the other side of the runway to make it even more challenging. So that's up next. And I'm not going to fly tomorrow, also not perhaps on Monday, I'm not sure, Eastern, so we're going to visit our family. So yeah, I don't think I have time tomorrow to fly, most definitely. So just keep a look at my Twitch and my usual channels to know when I'm flying, and you can jump aboard and see how well I'm doing. It's going to be challenging next time, and you also can keep track of all the things that are going through my mind when I'm studying IFR flying. There's so much cool stuff on YouTube and stuff that I'm sharing through Twitter, so you can find me on Twitter if you like to stay connected. Thanks, Val. Have a good night as well. Hoping to see you. Looking forward to see you flying again. Ah, nice Eastern all. Yeah, exactly, Chemo. Have a nice Easter. Yeah. So again, guys, thank you for the encouragement. Chemo, also thank you for your subscription, by the way. 8 months, appreciate it. Also, all kinds of follows there. Also, Simdude hosted. Oh, I didn't even recognize you, Simdude. Sorry for that. Thank you. So Kid and Buckfan and Kramer and Jerry and Mustang, thanks for the follows, guys. As always, happy flights and blue skies. Hoping to see you very, very soon. Bye. Palm Springs Tower, Skylane, Hotel Lakes, 10 miles north of the airport at 3000. With information X-ray. I'm for a full stop. I'm landing 13 left if that's available.
Pablo Delta Tango, Indy Link, Palm Springs Tower, squawk 6250.
6250.
Pablo Delta Tango, Indy Link, Palm Springs altimeters 2985, radar contact about 10 miles west of the Palm Springs VOR. Presently landing runway 31, you're requesting straight in for 13.
That's a bit, yes, please.
Ever correction, Pablo Delta Tango, Indy Link, make straight in runway 13 left and clear to land. Land is 0905.
Clear to land, runway 3 left. Pablo Delta Tango, Indy Link, thanks.
Palm Springs clearance plus 4658 is type VC12 slam confirm clearance to Vegas S-file.
Palm 4658, Palm Springs clearance. Good afternoon. Unable to give you S-file. I'll be forward sailing. PilotEdge 4658 is cleared to Las Vegas Airport. VFI Cathedral 1 departure procedure to Palm Springs. Victor 370 to 29 Palms. Victor 538. Cresso. Then a Cresso 311. Maintain 7,000. Expect flight level 2405 minutes after departure. Departure frequency 126.7. Squawk 6316.
Miles 4658 steered to Vegas via Cathedral 1, Palm Springs, Victor 37029, Palms, Victor 538, Cresso 3. Initial time 7,000 is for director 5, departure 167, squawk 6316,
Plus 4658, read back is correct. Thank you, Lane. Next is ground via Adler Main frequency.
Taxi to the ramp.
Ontario Tower